Hey, it's Jonathan McGinley, a Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer, and the founder of Intentional Man, a company that exists to give Christian men the tools, community, and coaching to pursue God-sized goals, live intentionally, and build lives of significance. In the Intentional Man membership, we work together as a community to develop 6 habits of intentional living. So today, I want to talk to you about one of those 6 habits. And it's an idea you probably don't hear too much about, but it dictates so much of your life, and that is congruency. Congruency. And that word congruence in the dictionary, it simply means agreement or harmony. Agreement or harmony. So what I mean by congruence, I'm talking about living with congruency, is that your thoughts, words, and actions are in agreement or in harmony with your values, beliefs, and desires. So are you consistently showing up as the person that you know you are? Are you living your values? Are you being a person of integrity? Someone who represents what you truly believe? Do your actions line up with your words? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about congruency. When your thoughts, your words, and your actions are truly in agreement with your values and beliefs, you're going to feel like you're living in congruence. You're going to feel like you're being authentic. You're going to feel like you're being genuine. You're going to feel like you're being intentional. And Brendan Burchard, he gives a really good definition of congruency as well. He says that congruence is living in alignment with what you know is the best of you consistently. Consistently, that's a key word there. Are you consistently living as the best version of yourself? Are you consistently treating others as your best self? Are you consistently living in alignment with Scripture, with what God says of you, with how He views you? I recently had a client who went through my 12-week individual coaching program, and this guy was really successful. Great family, great career, great house, brand new car. If you looked at his life from the outside, he was the epitome of success. But he reached out to me because he was feeling like something was off in his life. He reached out to me because he felt stuck, he felt frustrated. He had achieved what he wanted to achieve, but wasn't feeling like he thought he would. And as we really started digging in and going deeper, we came to realize that one of the reason he was feeling stuck, frustrated, and off was because he was not living in alignment with who he wanted to be. He had the stuff, he had the accolades, he had the career, but he was out of alignment in a bunch of different areas, and that's what was causing that frustration. He viewed himself as a high achiever, as a go-getter. But now he had kind of been coasting in his job. He worked really hard his whole life to get this career, but now he was in the middle of it, not feeling a whole lot of challenge, and didn't have any sort of pursuit or big thing that he was chasing. So he had stopped growing. He had stopped bettering himself. He had stopped adding new skills. So that was one of the ways he was out of congruence. Picturing himself as a high achiever, picturing somebody who grows and is constantly pushing himself, but didn't have any sort of meaningful challenge. He viewed himself as a good dad, and he really was, but as we dug into it, he knew that he wasn't giving his kids the time, energy, or attention that they deserved. He was working too many hours, he was missing too many other activities, and then when he was with them, he was pretty tired, and so he wasn't as engaged as he'd want to be. So that was another area where he was like feeling a little out of alignment with what he really wanted to be. The other was with his wife. He wanted to be a great husband, viewed himself as a great husband, but they had all these house projects and different things going on where he was spending a lot of his extra time on different projects and things that he wasn't having date nights. He wasn't connecting with his wife. And so he was feeling a little out of alignment there as well. And the last one, and I think a lot of us can relate to this, he viewed himself as an adventurer. He loved the mountains, and he said that's where he felt, the most alive. That's where he felt at peace. But when I asked him the last time he had been to the mountains, the last time he had gone on an adventure, he literally couldn't remember. So you can see there's these 4 different areas of his life where this is how he viewed himself. This is what he said were important to him. But then when you look at his thoughts, you look at his actions, you look at how he spent his time and where his energy and his focus was, it wasn't on those 4 things. So he felt out of congruence. But as we did the hard work to get those things back in alignment, he felt that passion come back a little bit. He felt his energy come back. He felt alive again. He felt engaged again. So I want you to think about your life right now. Are there areas in your life where your thoughts, your words, your actions are not in alignment with your deepest values with your deepest beliefs, and with your priorities. And of course, you can't be perfect in this, but again, that key word is consistently. Are there areas where you're not consistently in alignment? And if so, you might be feeling some of those things that my client felt. You might be feeling stuck. You might be feeling frustrated. So what are some of those negative consequences of misalignment? There's some internal consequences, and then there's some external consequences. Some of those internal consequences would be low self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of passion. Those are three big ones that happens when you're not living in congruence with the man that you want to be. This happens because of how the brain works. Your brain is always keeping score. Your brain is logging your activities. If you believe yourself to be a hardworking person, but you're consistently distracted at work, blowing off responsibilities at home, spending way too much time on your phone or on TV, then your brain is going to log that activity. And it's a vote against the identity that you want to have. When you say you're a hardworking person, but you spend all your time on your phone or TV, that's a vote saying, no, I'm not actually a hardworking person. Same with health. If you believe yourself to be a healthy person, but you continuously skip your workouts, you eat junk food all the time, your brain is logging those activities as incongruent behavior. So when you know you're supposed to be doing something or acting in a certain way, and you continue to do the opposite, you're not building your self-esteem, you're actually hurting it. So typically a lack of follow-through leads to a lot of negative self-talk. And when you have negative self-talk, you have a lower view of yourself because of your lack of commitment or your lack of follow-through. And you lose confidence. And as you lose confidence in your abilities, you don't try new things, you don't take on new challenges, you revert to passivity mode. And when you're in that zone, you typically lose your passion for life. And you typically lose that energy and that zest that you want to live with. So the best way to think about this, I like to think about this in terms of like a congruency bank account. So every thought, word, or action that you take in your life is either a deposit or a withdrawal into your congruency bank account. So if you believe yourself to be a kind and caring person, your thoughts, words, and actions will either give you deposits or withdrawals in terms of that identity. So when you purposely encourage someone, you make a deposit into that bank account. When you do something around the house that serves your wife, you make a deposit into that bank account. When you turn off the TV to spend time with your kids, you're making a deposit in that bank account. You're confirming that that's the kind of person that you are. You're caring, you're selfless, you're a servant. But on the other hand, when you blow someone off, you make a withdrawal. When you get mad and you talk bad about somebody, you make a withdrawal. So too many withdrawals, and you're going to find yourself what I call the incongruent zone. Incongruent zone is when you have more withdrawals than deposits. And when you have more withdrawals than deposits, you're going to start to feel that lack of confidence. Too many withdrawals and you're going to have a lower view of yourself. Too many withdrawals and you're going to start to lose your passion. So again, we're never going to be perfect. There are going to be times where you live incongruently, where you make a withdrawal. But we want to consistently have way more deposits in there where you're in alignment with who you want to be than withdrawals. So if that's the case, if you have more deposits than withdrawals, you're going to find yourself in the congruent zone. And this is where you start to build confidence. This is where you start to believe in yourself. This is where you start to boost your self-esteem. You can live with more passion, joy, and energy because you know you're living in alignment with what's important to you. So that's the key. Again, remember, it's not about perfection. None of us are ever going to do this perfectly, but you must have more deposits in your life than withdrawals. You must be way more consistently in the congruent zone than the incongruent zone. You have to have proof to yourself, to your brain, that this is who you are and this is what you do, right? So if you've been making too many withdrawals in that bank account, it might be time to put some of those deposits back in. So this is why sticking to the commitments that you make to yourself is so important. Oftentimes when I work with guys, it's pretty easy, or it's easier to stick to the commitments that you make to other people, right? If there's pressure, your reputation is on the line, or you made a promise and you want to make sure you come through for somebody. But it's really easy to not stick to the commitments that you make to yourself. These are the first ones that I seem to blow off in my life, that a lot of guys that I work with seem to blow off. the commitment to get up and go to the gym, the commitment to eat healthy, the commitment to work hard and not procrastinate when no one's watching you. But sticking to the commitments you make to yourself is so important in terms of building congruence. Every time you make a commitment and you don't stick to it, you're making a withdrawal from that bank account. You're casting a vote to your brain saying that you're not a committed person or you're not a hardworking person, right? So I want you to think about those days where you tell yourself you're going to wake up and go to the gym. The morning comes, you feel tired, you're tempted to go back to bed. Do you feel better about yourself later in the day if you stayed in bed and went back to sleep? Like we've all been there, right? You have some sort of commitment and you blow it off. You get to the end of the day. What are the thoughts that you have about yourself? Usually not great, right? It may have felt better to stay in bed that morning and get some extra sleep, but when you get to the end of the night, it feels horrible. You feel mad at yourself. You start that negative self-talk. But then think about the days where you have a commitment that you made to yourself that you stick to. I actually got up. I went to the gym. I worked out. I stuck to my calendar. I stuck to my schedule during my day. I didn't waste time on TV or on my phone or different distractions. Think about how that makes you feel, right? You get to the end of the day and yeah, you put in harder work, but man, you feel that sense of accomplishment. You feel that sense of confidence, and that builds your self-esteem. So I want you to think about that next time when you're faced with the decision of a commitment you've made to yourself. It always ends up being better when you stick to it. You're going to feel that confidence. You're going to feel that self-esteem. You're going to feel that self-love and respect come in. You're going to build that. So that's something that's important. Make sure you're making more deposits in your congruence bank account than withdrawals. Okay, some of the external consequences of not living in alignment would be loss of trust, loss of respect, right? And external, I'm talking about with other people. So the same bank account analogy applies here when we're talking about being congruent, your thoughts, words, and actions towards others. So if you, like my client, he viewed himself as a great dad, but as he's blowing off his kids for work, as he's blowing off his kids for a project around the house, when he's with them, but he knows that he's not engaged, those are withdrawals from that congruency bank account. He's in that incongruent zone when he's making more withdrawals. But then when you actually put some deposits in there, when you plan some purposeful, intentional days with your kids, when you spend time with them and you're engaged, when you take breaks from work to actually be with them, those are deposits that you're putting in that congruency bank account. I believe it's built into the DNA of every man that we want to be respected, right? We want to be trusted. We want others to believe that we'll come through for them when we're needed. And the greatest way to make sure you're getting those things is to be a man of your word, a man that sticks to your commitments, a man that follows through with your promises. We live in a world that is just becoming increasingly flaky. Like, it doesn't feel like many people are committing to anything these days. And if you could be a man that commits and stands by your commitment, you're going to earn others' trust and respect. But the unfortunate reality when it comes to others is that withdrawals are usually way more costly than deposits. So you might take your family on that fun vacation, and that's a big deposit. But if you blow off your kid's important soccer game, that withdrawal is going to be bigger than that deposit. Unfortunately, that's just how it works with other people. So you need to be intentional. You need to be proactive in making deposit after deposit after deposit in those most important relationships. So that when you do make a mistake, which we all do, then there's still a positive balance in the account. So the key here is being proactive, being intentional, creating opportunities to make those deposits that show these people that they're really important to you, to show them that you love them, to show them that you care. Because if you just leave that to chance, chances are likely that you're not going to consistently make all the right deposits. It's probably not going to just happen. You have to be intentional. So my client that I mentioned earlier, he started getting intentional about his commitments he was making. And he started getting intentional about those deposits. And this just brought back energy, brought back passion, brought back that confidence and that zest for life. So he proactively put together a list of activities he could do with his family, with his kids. He would put it in his calendar each week and commit to it. For his wife, he put in a date night. He came up with fun ideas for the dates. He came up with questions he could ask his wife that would actually grow their emotional connection. You could see These are small things, but he thought of them ahead of time, got proactive, got intentional about making sure he was living in congruence with the person that he decided to be. Congruency can either work for you or it can work against you. If you're more consistently in misalignment, you're not going to feel like you're living life to the fullest. But if you are more consistently in alignment with your values and priorities, you're going to experience great passion, you're going to experience joy, you're going to experience energy in your life. So I want to leave you with one quick exercise that you can do today to build congruency in your life. There's obviously a lot that goes into this, but this is one really practical thing I want to leave you with today that you can implement right away. So I want you to think about yourself right now. Take some time to think about yourself, who you are, who you want to be, how you want to treat others, how you want others to feel when you're around them. Think through some of those things and then come up with 3 words that would describe your best self. 3 words that would describe your best self. So if people could describe you in 3 words, what would you want those words to be? That's a good question to ask. What would you want those words to be if people could describe you in just 3 words? So once you got those words, then I want you to put them in your phone as an alarm or a reminder that goes off throughout the day. So 3-4 times throughout the day, pops up these 3 words in your phone. Each time that alarm goes off, you read those 3 words, you take a second to lock into them, and you think about how you can live into those 3 words in your current moment. Oftentimes, it's not some massive moment or change that dictates your life. It's just consistently showing up as the man that you desire to be. Doing this exercise has helped me to feel more consistently in alignment with my mission, my vision, and my values. And so I know it's going to make a huge difference in your life if you do it consistently, day in and day out. So that's why have some sort of reminder system, put it in your phone, have it pop up. When you see it, make sure you take 30 seconds to just say, in this moment that I'm in, or this meeting I'm about to go into, or this phone call I'm about to have, how can I live into these 3 words? And if you do that, you're going to build self-esteem, you're going to build confidence, you're going to have so much more joy and energy because you feel like you're living in alignment with the man that you want to be. So thanks for joining today. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was encouraging and inspiring to you. And if it was, please share it with somebody else that might find it useful. So thanks again for being here. Go live a life that you're proud of by living intentionally.